I've managed to accumulate timber over the years, and I've been beavering away, building boats for other people, new boats, restoring old boats, and I just love being around them. Absolutely love being around boats, and I have many books at home that I look at, and one of my favourite books is the book of Alden schooner designs. Well, Alden's designs in general, but I particularly love his schooners, and of all of them, I think my favourites are the Malabars. So I've come to a point in my life where I have the workshop, I have the tools, I have a good team of guys working with me that are keeping the business running, and I feel like now's the time. It's now or never. Build this schooner that I've been dreaming of for many years. I have the timber to make a start. I've got enough timber to build the boat, and certainly got the energy and the enthusiasm to make a good start. It's a lovely bit of wood. We were lofting the schooner out last week. We started by making the loft floor, painting that all up, getting it down, drawing the water lines, the body plan, the keel profile, and starting to make patterns for the keel and the stem, stern posts, etc. So right now I have a series of points that have been laid out on the grid. I'm using this table of offsets, which has numbers given in feet, inches and eighths of an inch, and that's giving me half breadths, so it's a distance half the width of the boat at each of these water lines. The water lines are like slices through the boat, level with the load water line, which is the line at which the sea will meet the boat. And the half breadths give me the distance from the centre line at each of these water lines. So I've marked these points on that grid, and now I'm using a batten, a nice straight stiff batten, to bend around the points. And what this does is it shows me it creates the batten creates a nice fair curve. So without any lumps or humps, and yeah, now I'm pretty satisfied that I've got all the points lined up with the batten, and the batten is looking fair. It's not doing anything it doesn't want to. I'm not forcing it, and I can strike a line through those points now. Come out a little bit here, actually. The reason I'm drawing these curves represent where the frames will lie in the boat. The frames are like the ribs of the boat and create the structure on which the planks are fastened. And when I have these shapes drawn on the loft floor, I can make patterns from them, and from those patterns I can make the frames.
Yeah, I have no marks.
Well, that's okay.
This one is like straight, fast.
Yeah, it's no problem. I was working alongside Rémi, who's come all the way from Douarnenez in France, from Les Ateliers de l'Enfer, which is a boat builder's training college. and he's an intern doing a month's internship, and he timed out, it was coincidental really that he came at such an opportune moment, and he's made a fantastic job of building a half model, and we have a really nice synergy and working relationship with on the loft floor. It's really good. Two minds are better than one. And I think
and take 5 minutes now.
Oh yeah.
After we're like, we have to make the frames again.
No, absolutely, and I think the combination of the French mind and the English mind is actually la crème anglaise.
International team. You're not European anymore.
Le crème de la crème anglaise.
La crème de pudding.
We're a couple of puddings, that's what we are. It's important when you're lofting a boat to have a couple of people working on it, because there's a lot of toing and froing, you know, checking each other's work, making sure that everything is done right, because there's a lot of different aspects to think about. Station 5, it's past the... Huh? Yeah, but why would it give that? Why would it give that?
Yeah, but sometimes that's true also.
Yeah, but it could be curving in a little bit. It's possible that's a mistake. Yeah, I mean.
1.95.
Does it give us a profile position?
9.5. You can check the height of the rudder.
We can check the height of the profile as well. Look, it's. Look, profile 905.
Yeah, that's good.
Profile's 905. Where's that?
905.
So
that's where we're ending.
Well, whatever the width of the profile is at that point is 00. Was it that one? That one there? Yeah, 006. It could be either, really, couldn't it? I think it's more likely that one. It's actually part of the lofting process. You expect there to be some errors because the information that you have to draw the boat full size has come from a scale drawing. The designer has drawn the boat to scale and lofted it to scale, but it hasn't been lofted full size, or the information that's there. So you use the information that the designer has put down on the offsets tables, but then you find, oh, it's a bit out here, it's a bit out there, and then you use battens to correct it. And then sometimes one person's work may be a little bit of a different interpretation from the other. So you kind of working between drawings, working between two people, and gradually sort of perfecting the lines. We should draw a profile on this as well, so that we can check that our rabbet position, because it's making me worry about the rabbet positions now. But they look all right on this. I mean, that looks all right, doesn't it? Well, the numbers aren't necessarily totally correct because they're done to scale. So in the real world, just a millimetre of mismeasurement or half a millimetre of mismeasurement on the scale drawing could relate to half an inch on the actual plan. So you use the battens. The battens are telling the truth. If the battens are fair through the majority of the points and they're looking sweet, then that's the batten doesn't lie. The batten is what's true, and your eye and the batten. But yes, we want to keep the boat as authentic and as true to the original lines as possible, and so that's you're working within parameters, but the adjustments are small, or they should be if the designer's done a good job, which they did. Mostly it was very accurate table of offsets, and to my mind that is the most beautiful boat that has ever been built. I mean, there's always an opinion, but to my mind it is, and I wouldn't want to change anything on it unnecessarily.
That's done, no?
Yeah, that's done. Yeah, we can get that ready to lay on the timber.
We clean that.
I'm here because in my school in France, in Les Ateliers de l'Enfer, we have to do 2-month internship, and I chose to come in England to do one of them. So I came here for 1 month. I didn't know we had to build a schooner. That wasn't the plan at the beginning. And then after Devon Mate was out of the workshop, then Ben come on a Monday and say, okay, we start to build a schooner. So I've done the half modern, and then we light out, and then we keep going on it. It was great, really great.
Rémi has a joinery background, so he's very proficient with the tools. Actually, on his boat building course, he'd already built a half model, but by a different method. So I showed him the method that I normally use, and that was interesting to him to try it in a different way. And yeah, he's pieced it together over a couple of weeks, and whilst helping with the lofting, and yeah, finally, primed it and painted it, and it's looking as it should, a piece of art, beautiful thing.
I'm doing many things by myself, and we just spend few times per day where we are exchanging about what we are doing, and then I'm doing my things a bit, so I have my own time, so I really like it, to be honest. And yeah, it's nice exchange, and it's a nice team working.
We go together, then we check, then we have to make choices like you have to get a nicer line in between, kind of.
Yeah.
You cannot be perfect, kind of.
Right, yeah.
I mean, if you're moving where you're pushing on, it's kind of changing. I mean, if you push here, it's changing the curve here also,
Yeah,
If you push here, it's changing the curve here. Sometimes you just have to move a bit the weights, and then everything is in line,
Yeah.
Everything's good, man.
John Alden was drawing his inspiration from the Gloucester fishing schooners, and they really were an absolute pinnacle of natural working boat hull form evolution. Well, Malabar IV was the first of Alden's racing schooners, and she was a race winner. She was legendary in her time. She's a manageable size to build as well. The Malabars got bigger as the series went on. The first Malabar was he designed and built for his own use, and he sailed it single-handed. And each year, successively, he designed and had another one built that he tested and tried and tested himself, and then would go on to design the next. And the Malabar series was a progression from Malabar I right through to Malabar 13. And they grew gradually larger with more external ballast to internal ballast ratio, larger sail area. They went from being single-handed cruising boats into being a combination of cruising, racing, and then into sort of more determined racing boats. But they were being relatively beamy and spacious. They do make great cruising boats as well. The schooner rig lends itself to shorter-handed sailing because of the breakdown of the sail area. So particularly on Malabar IV, which it was the evolution from the single-handed boat into one that was intended more for racing, but it's still got a very manageable rig. The schooner rig will balance very well if you drop the main and just sail on the fore and the staysail, which means that in a real blow you can quite easily drop canvas but still balance well, still sail moderately well upwind. You've got the option in light airs also of setting a fisherman's staysail, or in really light airs what they call a golly wobbler, which is a giant sail that sets between the fore and the main.
Then I'm joining the
yeah, and then it's got to go in nice into the into the rabbit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Could scale off this. I've been enjoying the idea of building this boat and poring over the lines and accumulating timber for it for many years now, and I really want to share the experience of building it. So with the likes of Rémi coming, who are excited about getting into boat building and want to use the opportunity to really get to grips with what it takes to build a new wooden boat, this could be a fantastic opportunity for people to come and learn in a good environment. I'm offering accommodation to people who want to come and work with me. They need to bring a reasonable amount of woodworking skills and a great attitude. We already have some encouraging interest and energy towards building it. I'm hoping that that will grow. In terms of actually financing the remains of the build, because there's the ballast to buy, there's the sails, the rig, the engine, the fittings, the fastenings, everything else that you know, would stretch beyond my purse. It's unknown exactly how we will get there, but my intention is to have this boat built and sailing in time for the 2027 Fastnet Race, because it was a Malabar IV that raced in the 1927 Fastnet, 100 years prior, and raced neck and neck with Tally-Ho. And I think it would be epic to recreate the race that happened 100 years previously, which was raced by a Malabar schooner against Tally-Ho, and the Malabar actually was first over the line, but Tally-Ho won on corrected time. So maybe we could do a rerun and see what happens. The ideal option would be if someone came along who just fell in love with the boat and decided that that was the boat for them, and commissioned us to complete it. So to fit out the interior how they want, to do the rig and the sails and so on to their spec. And then, you know, the ideal would be that they commissioned that and completed it in time for the 2027 Fastnet, and then, you know, it would have a fantastic first outing. If not, the alternative is that we fund it slowly from the business, but it'll always be available for sale. At any stage of the build, it will be available for sale, so we'll advertise in magazines and so on. It is absolutely my dream boat, but it's just as big a part of the dream to build it and to see it out there in the world as it is to sail it myself. I would be very satisfied to build this boat for somebody who could afford to complete it and to enjoy sailing it, and maybe they would take me for a sail every now and then, who knows. At the current rate, with 2 people working on it, it would take the full, you know, it could take longer than 2 years to build it. If it was fully funded, then you know, it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that you could build the hull, deck and rig and have it on the water, not with the interior, but then it doesn't need the interior for racing. I think you could have it race ready in 18 months.